In this video, I'm going to be discussing how thousands have just been laid off, and the question is, are you next? But before I do, welcome to the quietest ones in the room with your host Trey. I gotta say it. Just the mere fact that you have clicked onto this video and you are listening to the sound of my voice, you by far are the most intelligent people on the face of the planet. So once again, thank you for joining me. So here we go. We're going to talk about job cuts that have just been announced by Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble, P&G, has announced a cut of 7,000 jobs. Now, these jobs are announced as June 5th of this year, set for elimination. So we're talking about 7,000 jobs, non-manufacturing jobs to be exact, which is roughly 15% of the workforce for their non-manufacturing jobs. And they're looking to cut these 7,000 roles over the next 2 fiscal years. And so the question is, what's driving these layoffs? And I've talked about in previous videos how company after company is doing layoffs, and it's really affecting the morale of many people who have jobs now, and definitely those who are looking to get a job. So Procter & Gamble cited escalating costs for their business, especially from U.S. tariffs on raw materials and packaging, alongside cautious consumer spending, which has impacted sales. They also argue that they need to restructure their business to boost efficiency. Procter & Gamble highlighted the company plans to streamline operations by reducing layers, divesting smaller brands in some markets, and enhancing digitization and automation capabilities. But before I go any further, we need to talk about how Procter & Gamble and many of its rivals are doing the same thing. Unilever cut 6,000 jobs. Kimberly & Clark, 1,500 to 2,000 jobs. And if we're looking at the total picture for 2025, U.S. companies have announced nearly 700,000 layoffs this year. That's a rate not seen since early 2020. And we remember what that time was like during the pandemic. So here we are, another major company letting everyone know that we're going to be letting office jobs go. White collar positions are getting let go. Not the manufacturing jobs, but the white collar in office jobs. Some of your work from home employees at Procter & Gamble are looking to get laid off. And so the bottom line here is that Procter & Gamble's decision to cut these 7,000 office jobs reflects a proactive stance amid economic tightening. It's apparent that because inflation is high and the tariffs are in place, and there's still a question about what tariffs are in place, and it's all over the place right now. But the reality is that consumers, the average everyday American, is running out of spending power, relying on credit cards, relying on buy now, pay later like Klarna and Affirm. Many people are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's affecting the bottom line of companies like Procter & Gamble. And so because the consumer is volatile and the demand is all over the place because of tariff-related costs and pressures, it's just slowing down the growth of many companies that flourished in particular during the pandemic, because there was a boost of stimulative actions from the Federal Reserve by lowering interest rates and quantitative easing, meaning they were pumping cash into the system. But now that cash has gone from the have-nots to the wealthy are hoarding that cash. And yes, they could spend that money, but they're hoarding it. And everyone right now seems to be waiting for the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, which I think they should, and for some stimulative action to take place for the working class and middle class, so the wealth can be spread around again and extracted. But until then, companies, because they're not being as profitable, have to cut the fat. And it's unfortunate, because maybe you work at Procter & Gamble and you're listening to this. Maybe you work at Walmart and you're listening to this. Maybe you work at Microsoft. Many of these companies that are so profitable, but the profits aren't looking like they would like them to in their forward forecasting, their forward guidance. It's like, hey, we need to just cut as many people as we possibly can, because on top of all of that, they understand that AI is the play. AI is set to take many of the entry-level office jobs, many junior roles, many people who are higher up in these organizations. Their roles are in jeopardy as well, because AI will reduce the need for as much influence as they have over their particular roles right now. And so, whereas you might have 5 project managers, you may just need 1 now who's using AI. And so, with the digitization, the automation taking place in 2025 and moving forward, it looks pretty bleak. And I hate to be a doom and gloom person, but I've been saying for so long that while I am not doom and gloom, I'm going to continue to talk about the layoffs, because that gives a poignant picture regarding what is taking place in this country and possibly what we could look forward to. But with these layoffs taking place and the functional unemployment rate increasing, you cannot tell me that there's not an issue going on in this country. And maybe you're one of those people right now, you're listening, you're like, hey, I have my job, I'm making my 6 figures, and I'm completely fine. Good for you. But I would advise that you hope that your neighbors don't begin to struggle, so your atmosphere can be more conducive for your life, because I don't see how this is sustainable moving forward. People are upset with the wealthy. The wealthy have so much money, so much spending power, but they're hoarding it for some type of next bailout. And the only solutions I see to get through this are the lowering interest rates, the taxation of the wealthy, not just on the profits, but estate taxes, all these different things that I've talked about on this channel. But the question is, where you currently work right now, are you confident that you'll have a job in the next year? Are you confident that you will not be laid off due to profits shrinking and the need to cut the fat, so that the stakeholders and shareholders continue to make their money while you then have to go back into this tight job market and find a way to make a living for yourself? It is a tough time. I see so many people on LinkedIn who have been unable to find employment for over a year. Long-time professionals, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees. I see them begging on platforms like LinkedIn for opportunities. But maybe you're not in that situation right now. And I hope that you never have to experience it. And maybe you have experienced it at some time, at some point in the past. But right now, this is a different climate. And you're no longer just competing with people. You're competing with AI as we move forward. Less people are going to be necessary to do particular tasks. And this is why we are seeing a move in this direction of so many layoffs, along with all the other parts, as I mentioned, tariffs, interest rates. These things matter, and they affect how we live our day-to-day and what we're able to do and how we're able to navigate in this country. It's super expensive here, and we know it. And this is a very tough time for anyone who's getting laid off. Even if you're getting a severance package, it doesn't matter because it's not guaranteed that you're going to get a job sooner rather than later. So I'm sorry to hear about these layoffs for these individuals at Procter & Gamble. I wish everyone the best of luck. If you're listening to this and you've been laid off, stay positive, stay focused on your goals. Maybe it's time for you to be an entrepreneur and do your own thing. But if you're looking for a job, continue to stay focused, continue to grind, and I'm hopeful that it will work out for you. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. And I want to thank once again each and every one of you for checking out each of my videos. Always appreciated. And as I say, ladies and gentlemen, until next time.